Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. The Conference USA is by far the weakest conference in all of college football. But that doesn't mean it can't still be entertaining. And when you are craving some football on a random Tuesday or Wednesday night in October, this conference is going to come through clutch. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. So glad you could join us today to break down the Conference USA, all 10 teams in our conference recap. As always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home of those exclusive expert picks. Some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country for one of the lowest prices in the entire country. We're beating out over 80% of the national handicappers have done so each of the last 6 years. We're going to make it 7 by the end of this year. So if you want to win big with us for one of the lowest price in the country with some of the best customer service in the entire country, this is the place for you. Go sign up over on our website. The link's down in the description and become a member of our GE Nation. So let's dive into it. The short conference, right? Conference USA, one of the weaker conferences, one of the smaller conferences, only 10 teams. Pull up our graphic, and here we go. If you've been watching our channel, you saw we've already done game-by-game predictions for Liberty and Western Kentucky. So we'll touch on those briefly. We're really going to focus on the other 8 teams here. Liberty, though, that's to be expected. The Flames won the conference last year, went undefeated before losing to Oregon in their bowl game. We once again have them going undefeated. They are by and large the best team in this conference. I'm not sure anybody can take them down. We do have them going 12-0, 8-0 in conference play. They averaged nearly 300 rushing yards per game last year, and now their quarterback, Caden Salter, returns. Quentin Cooley returns at running back. 8 starters are back on defense. Their toughest test all year long is on the road at Appalachian State. We expect they're going to win that game. Even if they were to lose it, it would not affect them in the conference standings. So Liberty, by far, the team to beat. Right behind them, though, watch out for Western Kentucky. This team should not be slept on. They're going to have a dangerous offense. Dangerous offense. TJ Finley stepping in at quarterback. Elijah Young returns at running back. 2 of their top 3 receivers from last year do return. 5 starters are back on defense. The Hilltoppers program, guys, has won at least 8 games in 4 of the 5 seasons under Tyson Helton. At least 8 games in 4 of the 5 years. I think they're going to make it 5 of the last 6 years when they go 9-3, only losing 1 conference game this year. They do open up the season against Alabama, so what a great way for Western Kentucky. They get the honor of facing Bama for the first time without Nick Saban. They do have to play Toledo and Boston College in the non-conference, on the road at Liberty in conference play, but this is still a very dangerous and very good team that is probably Liberty's biggest threat in the Conference USA. Below them, Jacksonville State. They kind of made headlines last year. Their first year in the Conference USA, first year at the FBS level. They go 9-4, winning the New Orleans Bowl in epic fashion, winning that game in overtime. Logan Smothers returns at quarterback if he can stay healthy. They've got a very capable veteran under center there. Very strong offensive line. They'd be one of the best in this entire conference. They have 4 starters back on defense, though. That's going to be the key. Can the defense kind of get it together? The defensive line had 38 sacks last year. Hopefully they can keep those numbers up around the same margin. But can they play some defense against some of the better offenses like Western Kentucky, like Liberty? Regardless, we expect the Gamecocks to have another winning season, another bowl appearance, back-to-back bowl games in their first 2 years at the FBS level. Not too bad at all. How about Florida International and Louisiana Tech? 2 teams that have struggled as of late, and we have them making the postseason. Both of them. Both coming in 6-6, 4-4. And why is that? Well, we'll touch on both teams here, but I will say both teams have their new coach going into year 3. We always say coaches hit their stride in year 3 or year 4. For Florida International, Mike McIntyre is entering year 3 with the Panthers. They'll be playing now at Pitbull Stadium. How about that? Pitbull Stadium for Florida International. But they've got a veteran quarterback. Keon Jenkins returning. Led the team last year. Had a lot of upside. Kind of up and down season in 2023. Should take a big step forward in 2024, certainly cutting down on those turnovers. 8 starters as a whole, though, back on offense. 6 starters back on defense. So a very experienced team for the Panthers. They went 4-8 last year, but got off to a pretty hot start. We're 3-1 before things kind of started falling apart. This year, I expect another relatively strong start. They finish out the year with a couple extra wins, get to 6-6. They draw North Carolina State and Arkansas. Or excuse me, that's Louisiana Tech. They draw Indiana and Florida Atlantic in the non-conference. Probably going to be a couple of losses there, but those are their 2 toughest non-conference games, arguably. So the schedule is going to be a little bit light in this weak conference. I think they've got the coach and the talent to get to the postseason. Same for Louisiana Tech. Year 3 under Sonny Cumbie. We know they are an offensive-minded team. They've gone 3-9 the last few years, but the offense really hasn't been terrible. Definitely has room for improvement, but not terrible. Last year, the Bulldogs went 3-9, but had 4 one-possession losses. So they were close. I think a more experienced team probably would have won a few of those, and they would have flirted with a bowl game. This year, certainly more experience. Jack Turner returning at quarterback, very high potential there. Much stronger front seven defensively, with a problem for them last year, should improve. Yes, they do draw NC State and Arkansas in the non-conference, and they do have to go on the road to Western Kentucky, but they don't play Liberty. They avoid the top team in the conference. So the schedule could have been a lot worse. I think Carnaby gets them to the postseason. And that's the end of the teams that go to a bowl game in the Conference USA. 10 teams, we think 5 get to the postseason, 5 fall short. Once again, showing that's kind of how weak this conference is. But you look at what they've got, though. I mean, you've got a lot of teams that are in rebuild mode. Kennesaw State's making their debut at the FBS level. Sam Houston's only in their second year. This is where a lot of new teams come to try to kickstart their FBS careers. I feel like the Conference USA and the Sun Belt are kind of the two conferences where FCS teams go to begin that transition. Start with Sam Houston, though. We've got them at 4-8, but look at the conference record. 4-4. Sam Houston is not a bad team. They went 3-9 last year, but had 5 one-possession losses. So we're very, very close to being a bowl caliber team, 6-6, 7-5 type team. Fell just short. They're much more experienced now, especially on offense with 8 starters back. They're going to contend in the Conference USA. It's the non-conference that's going to hurt them. They have to play at Rice, at UCF, hosting Hawaii, and then Texas State. Hawaii is probably the most winnable of those games. I think they lose all 4. If you want to give them the win over Hawaii, fine. They're still 5-7, falling short of a bowl game. It's not the conference slate that's going to hurt the Bearcats. It's the non-conference, which makes it really, really unfortunate. This is a much better team than we saw last year. They really weren't all that bad last year, but once again, go through some growing pains and another losing season, their second year at this level. UTEP, new head coach Scotty Walden coming in from Austin Peay, was the head coach there, now taking over a minors program that had some potential. We thought was going to be pretty solid last year. Really kind of fell flat on their face with a big disappointment in the Conference USA. They went 3-9 last season. The offense this year should improve, should be better. Walden is an offensive-minded guy. They've got a solid quarterback in Cade McConnell. 5 starters back on defense that only gave up 185 passing yards per game last year. So UTEP might be a little bit better than people think. But they do have to go on the road to Nebraska, on the road to Liberty, on the road to Tennessee, on the road to Colorado State, on the road to Western Kentucky. So a brutal, brutal road slate with a new coach and new schemes and things like that. I think 4-8 is actually a fairly solid year. 3 of those 4 wins coming in conference play. Solid foundation down in El Paso. New Mexico State, 3-9. How do they go from a 10-win team to a 3-win team in a span of 1 year? Well, I can tell you. First off, they lose their coach. They're bringing in Tony Sanchez, who went 20-40 in 5 years at UNLV. Not a great hire. He's got head coaching experience. He's got experience out in the western region of the country, but not that great of a coach. Wasn't that crazy about it. So you lose your coach. Then you lose your quarterback, your top 2 rushers, your top 6 pass catchers, and your top 7 tacklers. New Mexico State lost a lot from last year's squad. They are really entering rebuild mode now, so they enjoyed that little bit of success under Jerry Kill. Now having to kind of start rebuilding again. We've got them at 3-9. Middle Tennessee, same thing here. They're rebuilding after many, many years of success under Rick Stockstill. We've got them going 3-9 in year 1 under Derek Mason. I like that hire. Former SEC coach, solid defensive mind. I think he's going to do well at Middle Tennessee. But this year, they only have 7 starters back, only 1 starter back on the offensive line, 0 starters back on the defensive line. You've got to be able to win at the line of scrimmage in the game of football, period. Middle Tennessee is not going to be able to do that. They've got non-conference games against Ole Miss and Memphis. They've got to go to Jacksonville State. They play Liberty. Just a rough slate for the Blue Raiders. And then Kennesaw State, their first year at the FBS level. Excited to see the Owls here. I'm excited to see their pistol option offense. I think that's going to be pretty fun. It's kind of throw some defenses for a loop. But they're going to go through a major growing pain, major transition period. The Owls went just 3-6 last year. They had a losing season the year prior. This is a young program. They've only been playing football since 2015, so it hasn't even been 10 years since they started their football program. And in that short time, they made 4 FCS playoff appearances. But now that transition to the FBS is a pretty big one, especially with questions at quarterback, just some questions in terms of size and depth. 2-10. They steal a conference win, though, but obviously going to go through a pretty rough season in their first year at this level. So with all that being said, the Conference USA, it comes down to Western Kentucky and Liberty. These 2 teams will play at Liberty on November 23rd. The conference championship game will be 2 weeks later, once again at Liberty. So the Flames getting to host both matchups, and they're playing these games very, very close to one another. And I don't think it's a surprise to anybody we're going to pick Liberty here. Once again, Liberty across the board is the best team in this conference. They will have one of the best offenses in the country. The best offense in the Conference USA, one of the best in the country. The defense is only going to get better. They've got a great coach in Jamie Chadwell, who I think is the best coach in this conference right now. Liberty's got all the pieces to once again go on an undefeated run and to win back-to-back Conference USA championships. But at 13-0, is that going to be good enough to get into the playoff? The record looks great, unblemished, a big fat 0 in the loss column. But the strength of schedule is terrible. The strength of schedule is very, very weak. Even the non-conference, very, very weak for the Flames. We saw what happened to them last year. They barely snuck in to that Fiesta Bowl and got obliterated by Oregon. Will the committee allow that to happen again? Or will they give it to another Group of 5 team, even if that Group of 5 team has a loss? Something to watch out for as we approach Selection Sunday. The Flames have a very strong case to make the 12-team college football playoff, but will the weak conference hold them back? So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home of those exclusive expert picks, including some of the best spread picks in the entire country, guys, beating out over 80% of the national handicappers each of the last 6 years. So if you want to win big with us for an extremely low price and the best customer service that anybody's going to give you, this is the place for you. Go sign up for those today and become a member of our GE Nation. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.